Hello, my name is David. I've launched YouTube videos on such topics as domestic violence awareness, counselling in Australia, and overcoming addictions. Today's video is called Social Media Truth. This is a poem I've written on that subject. Afterwards, I'll explain what I mean by each verse. Two teenagers raped a 6-year-old at school, then proudly showed a video of their actions to their classmates. Without social media, that would not have happened at all. Child molesters, murderers, and criminals of all kinds embrace social media passionately. It's their playground. Do you want to continue mixing with them? It's your call. I've got a list of the devastating impacts of social media on you and those you love. I hope it will change your ways. Ignore or dismiss the list at your peril. You'll suffer and die soon. I'll keep warning you of the dangers of social media for the rest of my days. There is nothing normal about children, even your children, exchanging naked images of themselves with their online friends. There is nothing normal about family members staring at social media screens instead of having healthy interactions with each other. It's time to make amends. The fact is that those in charge of social media organisations, most of them anyway, are the most evil, powerful people in the history of mankind. They have no respect for human life. They get their thrills from seeing you and your children suffer and die. By giving them power over you, you're having your death warrant signed. Our brains and bodies have developed over the course of time. Then social media reared its ugly head. Now, we don't need brains and bodies. Why? Because social media does the thinking and movements for us. It is an extinction-threatening crime. Let's destroy social media. Or would you rather it destroy us instead? I saw a teenager on a bus, reading a book. To make sure it wasn't a figment of my imagination, I had a second look. Life, after social media is destroyed, will be beautiful to the core. I know that. That teenager knows that. That's for sure. Let's look at verse 1 again. Two teenagers raped a 6-year-old at school, then proudly show the video to their classmates. Without social media, that would not have happened at all. Child molesters, murderers, and criminals of all kinds embrace and adore social media passionately. It's their playground. Do you want to continue mixing with them? It's your call. On the Gold Coast, a teenager used social media to force other teenagers to send in pornographic selfies. He then threatened to leak them if he wasn't paid lots of money. A man swapped sexual text messages with a teenage girl while his toddler son sat forgotten, dying in the back seat of his car. The toddler died. A lawyer finally got to meet a man she'd been communicating with on social media for over a year. He's setting himself up as a really nice man. But when they met in person, do you know what happened? He stabbed her 8 times, then doused her body in petrol. A 15-year-old was a victim of cyberbullying for 3 years. After school, he was king hit from behind, kicked and assaulted, 3 days later, he killed himself. A 7-year-old girl developed a social media addiction. As her use increased, her behaviour got worse. She would head out and yell and become distressed. She said, "This is torture. I don't deserve to live." She killed herself too. A beloved grandmother, maybe your grandmother, was killed when an oncoming car, driven by a man using his mobile phone, hit her vehicle head on. Children will soil themselves rather than leave their online games to go to the toilet. An innocent girl was lured to a senseless death by a violent stranger she met through social media. When they met, he pushed her into a lake, then held her head underwater till she drowned. So, the next time you shrug your shoulders and say, "I couldn't live without social media," it doesn't hurt anyone. It's no big deal. That's progress for you. Think of those cases I've just mentioned and change your view before you become a victim too. Verse 2. I've got a list of the devastating impact of social media on you and those you love. I hope it will change your ways. Ignore or dismiss this list at your peril. You'll suffer and die soon. I'll keep warning you of the dangers of social media for the rest of my days. Here's a list. Myopia, which is eye disorder. Dementia rates are doubling. Obesity, cell phone elbow, smartphone shoulder, neck and spinal injuries. Autism rates have doubled since the introduction of the iPad. Death and injuries for victims of drivers distracted by mobile phones. Arthritis, sleep disorders. Devices are messing children's brains and are interfering with their motor skills. Obsessive compulsive behaviour, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, self-harm, suicide. Did you know that 86% of Australians believe suicide can be triggered by social media? 86%. Violence, including domestic violence and murder. Lack of coordination. Lack of physical activity. Anorexia. Inability to remain still without gadgets. Social media is literally killing our young people. Today's children will be the first generation in history to have a lower life expectancy than their parents as a direct result of social media. Cyberbullying. Many cases of people who meet by way of social media, yet when they meet in real life, rape, torture and murder results. Exposure to pornography. Over 50% of children have seen online pornography by the age of 12. By the time they are 17, that figure rises to 90%. Children raping other children. Increased divorce rates. Social media is destroying families. Family members of all ages don't connect with each other face to face anymore. Instead, they connect with their social media devices instead. There are many more direct impacts of social media I could comment on, but that list will do for now. Verse 3 revisited. There is nothing normal about children, even your children, exchanging naked images of themselves with their online friends. There is nothing normal about family members staring at social media screens instead of having healthy interaction with each other. It's time to make amends. What is normal and healthy is for a baby to bond with their parents, to learn what true love is from the way their parents talk to each other and to that baby. To give that baby, that innocent baby, the love, respect and affection they deserve. Then, as a baby becomes a child and a teenager, they learn, they grow, they make friends with real people. In the family, they communicate and are there for each other, treating each other with love, respect and attention they all deserve. But because of social media though, there are now cots which have iPads in them. Babies bond with their iPads instead of their mum and dad. Children attach to objects instead of their caretakers. They don't want mum to soothe them when they're upset. They want mum's phone. Children have the attitude that instead of developing friendship, and when they are older to fall in love, get married and express love through touch, treating their partner with love and respect, they're able to use to learn online porn with other children, have access to and copy the behaviour of the porn actors and actresses, most of them who commit suicide, by the way. Did you know that? You do now. At a nearby school, I overheard children as young as 6 say they've seen videos of their classmates doing sexual acts. I had to call a headmaster. One child was yelling and screaming at his online game. His mother walked in and said, "What's wrong?" The child picked up a knife and said, "How about I slice your throat?" Last month, a lady knocked on my door. She was crying. She said she'd seen the messages written on my house, including "Social media kills children." She said that social media has destroyed her children and her relationship with them. I'm doing this video in honour of and as a tribute to that beautiful lady. The message is, social media has destroyed her family. Don't let it destroy yours. Please. Verse 4. Those in charge of most social media organisations are the most evil, powerful people in the history of mankind. They have no respect for human life. They get their thrills from seeing you and your children suffer and die. By giving them power over you, you are having your death warrant signed. Those organisations, who I call master manipulators, thrive on displaying pornography and having videos of children performing sexual acts and being raped and bashed and killed, available for all to see. Drug dealing would be virtually impossible for criminals now without social media and apps owned by those evil giants. Drug dealers adore social media. Do you? Thieves use social media to determine whether people are at home. 80% of criminals monitor social media for that purpose, to target which houses to rob. Terrorist organisations use social media for recruitment and propaganda. It's happening more and more, including in Australia. Those in charge of social media organisations don't see anything wrong at all in letting those organisations be a playground for drug dealers, child molesters, murderers and terrorists. Those social media organisations, those master manipulators, influence, and even decide election results. The governments of many nations, including Russia, China, and Australia, sacrifice the rights and beliefs and values of their citizens to cooperate with social media organisations. Why? To indoctrinate and poison their citizens with their lies, their own agendas, to only allow you to see and hear what they want you to see and hear, to stop you from seeing and hearing what they don't want you to see and hear. Governments of those nations, especially Australia, are trying to fool you, to con you into thinking they care about the welfare of our children. The truth is, all they really care about is to stop you from having access to anything they disagree with. Verse 5. Our brains and bodies have developed over the course of time. Then social media reared its ugly head. Now we don't need brains or bodies. Why? Because social media does the thinking and movements for us. It is an extinction-threatening crime. Let's destroy social media. Or would you rather it destroy us instead? Thousands of years ago, our brains were much smaller than they are now. In order to survive, our brains had to grow larger. Why? So we could work out how to solve problems, how to escape from predators, how to grow crops, how to hunt, how to make shelter, how to communicate with each other, how to mate, how to make social contact with each other. Our bodies had to develop too, so we could not only walk but run, to sit, to stand and walk tall, to use our hands to eat and to do what our brains told them to do. It was a gradual period of development for us as a species. However, thanks to social media, we are now regressing, which means going backwards. Why have a brain at all? Because social media does all the thinking for us. We don't know how to solve problems anymore. We just press a couple of buttons on a computer and it solves all our problems. So we think. So why have a brain? People now don't communicate with each other face to face. They communicate with their social media devices. Children learn to do that from an early age, thanks to their irresponsible parents. When it comes to expressing love through touch, or sex if you prefer to call it that, children now use violent pornography as the best teacher. What's the point in exercising, or going for a walk, or a swim, or even going to a shop or bank to meet real people and have real contact with, when it's so much easier to press a couple of buttons and food is delivered to your door? People rely on social media 16 hours a day. So why have arms and legs? Why walk? Why talk when social media does all that for us? Unless we destroy social media, our brains will rapidly reduce in size even more, and we won't need our limbs. And later on, we will become extinct. So, let's destroy social media before social media destroys us. Before I get on to the final verse, there are a couple more elements of the impact of social media which I'd like to add. The first is it enables criminals to track the location and movements and correspondence of victims in social media in domestic violence situations. As social media usage has increased, domestic violence rates have increased. Love, trust, honesty, respect and loyalty are the most important values, I feel. But they are words, values, which social media and perpetrators of domestic violence do not recognise. I've sent 40-page reports of the link between social media and domestic violence and suicide to one crisis line organisation and to other organisations which claim to help other victims of abuse and violence. Their responses, their attitudes have been pathetic and disgraceful. How dare they? Now, you may be curious about my own experiences with social media. Yes, years ago I did use a computer. I stared at the screen for hours every day. Till one time I received a call from a man who ended up saving my life. He told me over the phone that there was a virus in my computer, and the only way to remove it was to give him details about the computer and about my bank balances. I followed his instructions. The result? He took all the money from my account, apart from $1. But what do you mean he saved your life, I can hear you say? I never told this to anyone, and I am scared of how you react. To my friends, including Michael, who are seeing this, I hope and pray you'll understand. I don't expect or deserve your forgiveness. That man saved my life by forcing me to stop using social media, to stop staring at a computer screen, showing pornography for hours every day. I was addicted to it. I know they're adult actors and actresses, but it was no excuse for my behaviour. Watching pornography destroyed my love life, even more than the time I was sexually abused when I was a teenager. To my friends, again, I say sorry. If you don't want to talk to me again, I understand. A final verse. I saw a teenager on a bus reading a book. To make sure it wasn't a figment of my imagination, I had a second look. Life, when social media is destroyed, will be beautiful to the core. I know that. That teenager knows that. That's for sure. Imagine yourself talking to other real people face to face, seeing and hearing what each other is really like, not staring at fake images on a screen or sending or receiving stupid text messages. Imagine yourself being truly happy, loving and accepting yourself for who you really are, being at peace within yourself. Happiness and peace are found within you, not within a computer or a mobile phone. Imagine not comparing yourself to others. How would that be like for you? I can imagine it would give you a powerful sense of freedom, the freedom to be the beautiful person who is you. Imagine yourself in a beautiful location, looking at the breathtaking scenery, the beaches, the waterfalls, the forest, the wildlife, talking to the locals face to face, smoking in, soothing that incredible, beautiful atmosphere. No photographs or videos could possibly describe your experience. I wouldn't want to see them anyway. What I do want to see and hear is a smile on your face and to hear the smile from your voice as you describe your experiences. Imagine yourself having your privacy, talking to whoever you want to, going wherever you want to, doing whatever you want to do. Without social media, you can't have that. But with social media though, there is no privacy, no freedom. When social media is destroyed, and I believe it will happen soon with your help, sure, there would be some short-lived mayhem. But then, you know what would happen? Then we'd learn to use our brains again. We'd learn to communicate face to face again with our families and our real friends. We would adapt to changing circumstances, and we will live longer and happier and healthier. You have a choice. Do you want to help me destroy social media? Or do you want social media to destroy you and those you love? So, how well have you been listening to this video? I've got some questions for you. Question 1. How old was a girl I mentioned who developed a social media addiction and said, "This is torture, I don't deserve to live," and then killed herself? A, 7 years old, B, 11, C, 15. The answer is 7 years old. Question 2. Today's children will be the first generation with a lower life expectancy than their parents as a direct result of social media. True or false? The answer is true. Question 3. If you use social media, do you have any privacy? Yes or no? The answer is no. Question 4. Do you want to help me destroy social media? Or do you want social media to destroy you and those you love? It's your choice. It's your choice. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope in some small way it will change your life. If you've got any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. To do that, see my contact details in the bio below. Thanks again.